Hi everyone, this is your lab TA. Today we are going to teach you how to do the home lab 2 projectile motion. So as you know, this is a home lab. You are supposed to find all you can find at home and do the lab setup on your own. So I feel it useful to film a video clip in my home using the things I can have so that you can have an idea what you need to do in this specific experiment. There are several things you may need: a ping pong ball or a tennis ball or a golf ball, whatever ball you have, and a tape, just ordinary tape, don't have to be very fancy, and some papers, and you may need two package box and make them and have this rectangle above it. So you can use the soda box, whatever box you have, but you want to have this rectangle. But why not use the wall? The wall has its rectangle as well. The point is we need to move the height of this end. So we have to use the box here to move the height of this. We move its height up and down so that we can see the projectile track. I'll explain that later. So basically you need these two package box, and then that's probably all you need, but you still need to find 3 different height surfaces. So in that case you can, but for that one it's very like up to you. You can use these chairs or this water or sofa or whatever you have. You need to have several different height surfaces to put this box. Okay, so then let's start doing the lab setup. The first thing you need to do is to tape these 2 blocks together so that it won't move. So you need to do like this, because when it's moving, the setup is not stable. We don't want that. We want the height to be the same. The height of the acceleration part staying the same. So we tape these together, and that in that case these 2 will move. I mean, at least in theory. And the second thing you need to do is you need to pick up paper, 1 or 2 paper, and tape it on in between like this. So you can tape it with a larger angle, smaller angle, it really doesn't matter. But you have to, as I said, make it stable. So what I'm gonna do is I use to tape as much as possible to make this whole system as stable as possible. And you also want to make this surface in this direction are the same. So you don't want to blend it in, you don't want to twist it in this way. And then you tape these 2 ends. Sorry, I can only do it with one hand because my other hand is holding a camera. There you go. Yeah, you don't want these tapes to get in your way. You can do something like this. Okay. Now you tape it. There you go. Now you have the basic lab setup. And this is the most important part in our experiment. Then you can drop your ping pong ball or tennis ball, whatever you have, at the end of this paper. Please keep in mind that you have to drop it at the same place every time, so that the project motion of this ball, whatever the ball it is, keeps the same. I mean, in theory, it keeps the same, but in reality, it probably not. Okay, now let's do this experiment and start from here. Don't give it an initial speed. Okay, now we can see that the ping pong ball dropped on this dot, and we need to measure the length of this dot between this dot and the starting point on this in this specific place. So we need to measure the length from here to here, maybe here. You can use a pen to mark it. As I said, I only have one hand, I can't really do that. And then you need to measure the length between this and between the hitting spot and the starting spot. So let me zoom far a little bit. So this is a starting plot, this is a hitting plot. You need to measure the length of here. Of course, you have to measure it on the ground. And this is your x value. And this length, the height of your starting point, is your y value. You need to keep track of your y value and your x value, and then plot it out. The lab manual will tell you the details how to do that. But this is the basic data we want to collect. Okay, the first thing I want to mention is that you probably need to do it like 3 rounds, or at least several rounds, to calculate the average for the x values, because it's a home setup. It's not very precise. You need to do the same height. When I say the same height, you mean the same surface you put the box on. You need to do it for like 3 rounds, and you have 3 different x values. The y value keeps the same because the height doesn't really change at all. And then you need to average that x value to obtain the real x value you are supposed to get. The second thing is now you have to move the y value as well, because you need to plot x as a function. So then you need to move the height of this box. Let's say in this case we move it to this surface. You see, now we have a lower surface. The y value automatically becomes smaller. And then you need to drop the ping pong ball again from the same beginning spot and do it for like once. Of course, x value will become much smaller, but you still need to do 3 practices. Okay, it's here. I measure the x value 3 times again. I measure the height for once. Once is enough because the height doesn't change. And then keep track of all the data. And then you need to do it with a smaller surface. And since my box already have a height, so I can directly put it on the ground and do the third experiment. That's the basic idea of this experiment. And another thing I need to mention is you probably need a ruler. So if you have a meter stick, that's perfectly fine. Sorry, my phone runs out of storage. Let me finish my sentence here. If you have the ruler that's long enough, it's perfectly fine. If you have a smaller ruler, you can measure the length one by one. So you can measure the length from this end to here, and start from here, measure the length from the in between, and then measure the length of the third distance. So then you can add those 3 numbers up to act as a final length for this x value. So that's the basic setup for this experiment. Hope you all enjoy doing it. It's really fun though. Have a nice day. That's all about the instructions in this lab setup. Thank you.